All right, welcome back for the episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Friday, February 9th, 2024. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts, analysis, and live day trading. Anyways, let's get into it this week or today. So markets here up 0.5% on the SPY, Qs up 1% here. So we had kind of a gap and go trend day. This is something I thought could happen here this morning based on the pre-market action. We did get a revision in CPI by 0.1% down. So market got a pretty good bid on the futures this morning. If you take a look there, ES, big outside move. Then we did fade it, but we held essentially pre-market this area, 50.16, 50.18. That's equal to about 5K on the SPX. So when that area held, it looked like a trend day, and that's kind of how we played it in the trading room this morning. But bottom line, markets acted well, and we're going to get that close, obviously close, not just test or touch above 5K. 50.25 here is looking like what the pin's going to be right now. We also got above 500 on the spiders too, and we're going to close above that. I think that's kind of important because you're going to need that psychological level to get out of the way, right? That's finally got to get out of the way. And now we have it here. It's also happening on a Friday, which gets everybody into the weekend feeling good. I also think, if there's ever going to be a corrective move here, which obviously inevitably there will be, lots of euphoria out there, specifically in big cap tech and semiconductors. I think you need to get that psychological close, especially on a Friday, above that whole round number. Why? Because it gets everybody, it gets retail talking, it gets mom and pop saying, oh, I'm going to go put my money into the Dow. I'm going to go put my money in, CNBC's pumping all weekend long, creating that FOMO, which kind of coaxes in maybe some of the last money on the sidelines. It's certainly possible. But I generally like to get those whole round numbers in, tagged or at least closed above, especially on a Friday there. That does definitely seem to do the trick sometimes. Speaking of euphoria here, Mag 6 now, call skew. Every time we get above this white line here, right around 0.3, it has led to some pretty good declines before. A little shallow one here. This was 2022, so a 30+% decline. This one here into October, we're definitely up into that territory. So definitely some euphoria here in the market. But again, I'm going to keep saying it over and over until we get high volume sell. Market can go higher, right? That's really all that matters. We are going into OPEX next week, February OPEX. I generally want to give the market kind of the upside bias during that, especially going into it, because market makers don't want volatility exploding, right? When they're trying to pin the market, say, institutions and stuff like that. So they like to keep the market kind of pinned. So we generally want to give the market the upside bias. Doesn't mean it has to, ramp higher, but you generally want to be neutral to positive there. So right now, other levels, could we get a 50-50? It's possible. We, they really want to. Like, again, blow off tops can go higher than most people think. We could go to 51. There's nothing to say that can't happen. Will it? I don't know. But until we get high volume selling, I'll tell you. I'll tell you when I think there's a top. But I'm going to need to see it. I'm going to need to see the bears actually step in. When they do, they're usually not too. They're not too inconspicuous about it. Usually looks like this. I'm in the camp that at this rate, we're probably going to get a gap down. If there's a top, why they're going to want to trap, right? They're going to want to trap everybody that bought like during this period, right? So that would be kind of how I would think that's going to go down. But again, until we can just speculate as much as we want, but it doesn't matter until we get that signal. I will say, if you guys recall, I talked about 433.75 on the Qs that got tagged, and I said 442 area would be the next level. Well, there is possibly, we just draw this in, you make a case, you've got a rising wedge here. And the top side is right in that 440, 441, 442 area. So who's to say we don't get up there mid next week or by the end of next week and then come back down? Again, in bull markets, rising wedge can break bull. It does happen, but we are also hella extended. Look at the monthly. In fact, here's a chart I'll show you as well from Twitter. Let me pull it up. It's worth looking at. So in 2021, we have ZERP, 120 million a month in QE. We had about 1,000-point move in 12 months. In the last 4 months, with quantitative tightening, right? Financial conditions feel real tight to me. Let me know if you feel they're tight. But and 4 to 5% rates, we had 1,000-point move from right here, right? You go to the SPX, 4,100, and we're just shy of 51 right now. So 900 plus point move in like 4 months, not even 1, 2, 3 and 3.25 months, 900 points. It took us a whole year to do it during the most, irrational exuberance free money period ever in history, right? 2021 was that period, right? And we've managed to do that whole move now. So it is vertical, it is overbought, it is stretched, it is extended, it does need to correct. I speculated yesterday that how long till SoftBank gets margin called, because when the leverage gets this tight up here, it doesn't take much, right? 5, 7, 8% of down day in a stock like SMCI could trigger margin calls. The same thing with NVIDIA. And by the way, NVIDIA is $1.5 trillion company, so that can take the whole market down. But until then, we need a high volume reversal to do any of that. But just watch that rising wedge, possible there on the Qs, possible there on the semis too, if we just throw that in. So it's kind of getting into that range. You could even extend it out, maybe. Extend it. We'll just leave it here. So watch that on the SMH. Tightening range, overbought, extended, euphoria, bear destruction, bear ridicule, everything you want to call it. So just be aware of that. We are above that 200 psych level, though. IGV is in much. Oh, hold on. Let me go to the Russell. Yesterday I said I didn't think the Russell was going to get through this. It did. So, but you can see this morning it did. I talked about intraday sell signals, and to be fair, it went sideways while the market was pumping. So, eventually it broke out. So the signals I had were stalling it out at least, but it did get through that. Again, I wasn't saying like it's a short or anything, but didn't think you would quite get through that today. It did. Got to close above 197.50. Can we follow through finally? We'll see. 200 is your next level, short term, and then 205. This is going to be important here because if mega cap tech starts selling off, you need to see rotation to this and ARC. Right. So, and we're seeing that now. Now, also, if NVIDIA drops, back to 500, it's like a 30% decline, the market's going to come down. I don't care what IWM's doing. The market will come down. There's too much weighting in it, right? But if IWM is holding up, relatively speaking, that's not bearish. And that would tell us that we're going to look for weekly or monthly higher lows. So just keep that in mind. But, IWM holding up. Now, again, like I said earlier this week, we've seen this damn movie so many times, right? IWM, oh, here it is. It's coming. New all-time high is coming for the Russell. It's going to happen. And then, it gets 2-day rally, and then it just stops, right? It goes right back to semi. So it needs to really prove itself. Also, I think this really needs like a true Fed pivot to really start going higher. And I think the fact that the Russell hasn't done that before tells me that the Fed's not going to really cut all that much. But we'll get into that in a few minutes. But Russell did have a good day, so we'll respect it. Dow down 25 basis points. We don't really care that much. That can still go to 390. Semis, which we talked about there. Watch that upper trend line. IGV is holding up well. That's going to go to double top. So that's only 5 points away, right there. 448.79. Should get there next week. And should probably pierce it. Transports, this is a chart I like still. Yeah, remember that weekly inside bar never broke down, and it's acting well. This can go to 16.6 and then 17. All right, interest rates, 2-year. Inverse head and shoulder still valid. That can still go to 4.6, 4.7. I'm interested to see how the Russell handles, how the market handles this happening. It should get there too. I've been saying that for a while. Rates aren't going to go much lower. I don't care what narratives they try to throw at me. I have not changed my stance on that. I haven't gotten freaked out by these one-day declines. The rates are still strong, and the reason I know they're strong is, I'll say here, we'll flip over to ZB because I want to show you the pre-market. The last 2 days, so Wednesday, we had 10-year auction, and we popped, and then look what happened. We dropped all the way back down. Yesterday, we had a 30-year auction. We popped, we dropped all the way back down. Today, we had CPI revised down. That's bullish bonds. And guess what? We dropped all the way back down. That is bearish price action. You got really good news 3 days in a row, and it was sell the rip every time. By the way, TLT, it's close here. It's going to get saved. But that weekly green bar, if we close below that, this is going to drop. But yeah, I just don't really like the price action I'm seeing in bonds. So 5-year, I'm going to say 4.3, 4.4, 2-year, 4.6, 4.7, 10-year, 4.3 to 4.33, 30s, still got to get above 4.4, or excuse me, 4.42 area, but then, 4.6, and then possibly 4.75. Those are my targets for yields. I'm very interested to see how this market handles that if we get there, because right now it's like, who cares, but I think if we get through these walls here, I think that will care. By the way, lower highs there on TLT. XHB still inching higher. Again, weekly, I would prefer it if the 20 was closer to price, but it's acting well. Might be a fake breakout, but I'm not going to step in front of it or anything, but I would just prefer if that 20-week moving average is closer. VNQ here up 2 cents today. That's going to get saved on the weekly. I'm just neutral to positive on that right now. XLF, kind of a nothing burger this week. That can still go higher, possibly to 40. KRE is going to lose this weekly green bar. Unless we get a power bid in the next, what is this, 48.29. We're going to need like a 50-cent bid here in the next 10 minutes. Otherwise, we're closing below that green. Now, again, there is a lot of support here still, but that's not a good sign when you close below a breakout bar with an inside pattern like that. It's just not a good sign for regional banks. But again, who cares? Because regional banks don't matter anymore. KBE is going to save that regional that bullish inside bar on the weekly. So that's still okay. Broker dealers here is fine on the weekly as well. Oil continuing higher. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 days up. It's still below the high from last week, so you still have that engulfing candle kind of in play. But, pretty good recovery. I would just say if it goes sideways, give it the upside bias to this pivot, maybe 80, 80, 150. If it comes back down and takes this out, or it hits this trend line again, it can break because you've hit it 4 times now. XLE, kind of weak price action today. Don't like that. But it could still firm up. There's nothing broken. XOP, same thing. I don't like the 50 MA rejection, but you can make a case for starting to put in. Let me get rid of this. I don't care about that anymore. Let's just look at it like this for now, right? Keep it simple. There's a wedge on XOP. We'll see how that plays out. OIH here, again, could it go a little bit lower? Yes, I still like it. CCJ did something today. Lower lows for the first time since July. It's not broken on the weekly. You're still above the green, still above this pivot, still above the 20. But anytime you do the first time of something, usually it leads to something else. So just be aware of that. Again, knowing how CCJ goes, it'll prove me wrong and go to the moon next week. URNM is in better shape. No lower lows there. So that's still holding up. Nat gas, that got a little bit down to like $1.83 or 82, I think. It is coming off the lows. I don't know what to do with this. I know that it's literally at levels we haven't seen since COVID. So when the entire world was shutting down, like 40% of the world was shutting down and demand was completely destroyed. It's trading there now. And now we have 5%, 4 to 5% rates and, 3% inflation, but this is down. Yeah, I know they're beating it down because of the election. I know their LNG exports, Biden did his thing. Freeport's got a partial closure, but can't help but think it's attractive. I just don't have the buy signal on it. It's definitely attractive though, but I'm leaving it alone for right now. Dollar index here, that's still fine this week. If this firms up, go to 105 and then 106. If it puts in a lower high here, then it's in trouble. But right now it's hanging in there. Gold backing off today. Again, another thing I'm very interested to see how this behaves if rates break out, because lately it's been holding up really well. I think the market, I think right here, this is the 10-year. I think this is the market's pain threshold, right? 4.2. If we get back above 4.2, which is, we're that close to it right now, I think that's the pain threshold for the markets, but that remains to be seen. But gold backing off, bigger time frames are still fine. Silver, fractionally higher here. Let's not make too much out of that. You could make a case too, just be careful. It could be a head and shoulder there, big head, right shoulder. If that triggers, and that, I don't think that's even going to play out. That'd be too, I don't think we could even get down that far. But that is a trend line we can watch. If it breaks down, it's going down here. That's kind of what I'm favoring right now. Platinum and palladium still backing off here. Again, I still like these down at these levels longer term. There's still going to be a lot of grinding right now, but I still like the longer term levels. Copper, head and shoulders is still valid. It is oversold, due for a bounce. If we close above this white line, then it can negate that pattern. It doesn't mean it squeezes. It just means that pattern's negated. Bitcoin's still acting well. Here, got to 49K today. No, sorry, 48.1. I think, and look at that, by the way. Look at where it went. Exactly to that blue line. So right there. But you know, charts are just astrology for men, though, apparently. But in any case, we went there. This, I've been saying, banging my fist on the table for this. Weekly pattern is fine. It's not breaking down yet, and it's pushing up. I would say if we touch 50K, it'll probably pull back and stall out. We'll probably do that over the weekend. But this is fine here. I think short term it probably doesn't have a lot of upside. I just don't think it's quite ready to break out yet. But the pattern's fine. It can just hold up here for another couple weeks and just go up. There's nothing wrong with this. So that's still acting well. Again, spiders here. Market's closing about 4 minutes. So again, 40.25. That looks like the pin right now. And again, lots of euphoria out there. Watch those rising wedges. We'll see if that bears any fruit. But again, give the market kind of the benefit of the doubt into OPEX week. And if we get high volume selling with confirmation, then I think we have some type of a top in play. And the Mag 7, when they correct, they make up so much weighting. It's all fun and games on the way up, but just be careful on the way down. They can take the market down. And we've also never seen 0DT with volatility unpinned. That's another kind of wild card, if that ever were to happen. So anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Have a great weekend. Come find me on CarnivoreTrades.com. Talk to you guys all next week.